guys, we are back with Messy on Purpose, and I have a nail. Oh my gosh. See, I told you I overthought it. Enel here with me today. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. She's with a company called DANK. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Right.
that's correct.
Okay. And she's just going to give us a little background on her, maybe a little bit about the company, and we're just going to kind of dive in from there.
Hi, so nice to be here. I feel very messy already, so we had a perfectly messy, and I'm happy. So my name is Enel, and like you already said, I'm with DANK, and it's actually DANK B2B, so it kind of sets the tone that we're really focused on the service providers, experience providers, and helping them, steering them towards the B2B world gently with no pressures. But there's a lot of people struggling in that world, in that sector, in that area. So this is really what my mission is, and my team's mission is to create a supportive environment for solo entrepreneurs and service providers who may not see themselves as natural business people. But they might not even resonate with that world or word entrepreneur. They just offer a service. They even might call it a gig or whatever, and we just help them become a little bit more professional, shape, refine their service, their packaging, their pricing, and find the right audience, and then market and sell whatever it is they do. So I am essentially the CMO, which really leads to the background of marketing specifically in my case, and so that's kind of like where I'm shining, I guess.
And that's how you got roped into the podcasting, huh?
Yeah. There's three of us. So Lena, she's worked really hard to get our name out there right now, and we really found that this niche is so underserved, and it's almost like explaining this for the very first time to many people, unless you're really talking to somebody who's already in it. It's very new. It's like when AI first came, people are like, wait a minute, what is that? I feel a little bit the same vibe.
So give me a little bit of an idea of like what that looks like. So you end up working with somebody, they're not super business savvy. What do you guys do to help them?
So they usually have sort of a service, or they have a passion or a skill, and it could be literally anything that is outside of a digital world, right? We have the digital people doing all kinds of stuff online, but now the people that actually do something, like, think of Airbnb experiences, for example. Like, you find all these experience providers there that offer, like, I don't know, like a snorkeling thing, or we have this really cool client. She offers a day with myself. It's called Day with Yourself, where she blindfolds. That was very messy. That was very. She blindfolds them, and then she leads this whole day of experiences. But she had never thought to offer that day for businesses, for teams. And then basically what we did, we sit down with her and we're like, how can we now make this enticing for companies, for like corporate setting, right? They're maybe overworked, or there's too many teams and they really don't communicate well together. Now you could come in with your service, and that's how you would position yourself, that this is something I offer. I help you guys position to be more transparent between, like, the two different departments in a big company, for example, right? So, and she's been really successful at it.
Very cool. So basically you're taking these small service providers and you are introducing them to a different type of customer. So something more corporate like.
Yeah. So it's like moving from B2C to B2B. Yes, corporate business. I'll give you another example. Before COVID, there was like a family business that me and my husband ran, and it was a local axe throwing venue. Did you ever try axe throwing? It's like
I have actually.
Yeah.
I was better at the knives, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, we had knives too. And it was like a family business that we ran. We were, solopreneurs. There was really just the two of us. And very early on, I figured, okay, we have the walk-ins, right? That some of your customer base is going to be a walk-in base and they're just reliable customers. But if you want to make more money, reach to a wider audience, you would have to position yourself so that audience is able to recognize that this is something, could be something for them. So in our case, we set a page on our website and we said we offer team building events for businesses. So through axe throwing. And we got a lot of companies like Walmart, local Dunkin', like furniture stores. So that's like your business client that would come in. They would have maybe a little meeting before the axe throwing. Then they maybe would set up, we had them set up tables and they would like sometimes grill outside some burgers, very Florida. and then they would have their axe throwing thing and then they would do another little meeting. And it was like a team building, bonding experience that we created out of it. So that was a perfect example of like a service provider, experience provider offering the service to a business.
And is that kind of where it started, like building this business? It started with you and your husband doing that?
So interestingly not. This was just kind of like a organic way of how things really formulated and ended up in DANK. So it was like my personal story. It's more like my personal story. But the previous experience I had through owning several different businesses before, working in marketing for an agency, serving the clients in marketing. So that really gave me that strong marketing kind of base, but also having that experience in the event and service industry. So when my two partners came to me with the idea, they were like, we have so much experience combined. My partner, she's served, I think, 30,000 plus clients, coaching them. And the other partner as well, combined with her experience, my experience, we realized that we cannot sustainably coach everybody one-on-one. We just can't reach that many people with that message that we really are here to give out and really build like a strong confidence in service providers. You can't get to them one-on-one. There's something we offer, but you just can't do it. It's just, it's not attainable. So we just put all of our knowledge into a little package, and we started kind of offering as like a blueprint that it would be something that's easy to follow for anybody.
How much did it change from like the first start to like now? And how long have you been doing it?
So we are kind of with the course, we're kind of, I would say we've been doing it for about a year, helping people that way. But what essentially, my little daughter here, so about a year, but that wasn't really the end goal. The bigger mission, the end goal was also very messy, by the way. I was like, wanted to keep the vibe going, what I'm saying? So the end goal is to build a platform that we're also working on the side. And the platform is kind of too fresh to go into it here. but it has a lot to do with the service providers and everything we're doing. So yeah, so it's like a phase 1, phase 2 type situation. So we're just in the phase 1 right now.
And you're only about a year in. You got like 20 more phases over the next few years.
Yes. But it's very important to catch the drift and go for it, because there's a timing, and timing is very sensitive to there's a lot of missed opportunities in taking too much time. So we're very well aware of that as well. So we don't want to miss that wave.
And it's not even really just a wave. It's just that taking action on something. I think a lot of people just kind of hold themselves back. I mean, we were talking right before we started this about like just trying things regardless of how you feel. I mean, when I started this, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, this is a perfect example. So many people overthink things. They want things to be perfect, and they want things to be fully planned out before they're confident enough to delve into the venture that they're. And I think I am very guilty in that in so many ways. But the years teach you, your experiences teach you that, look, you just got to go for it, and you will learn as you go, pretty much.
And it's nice when you get older and you stop caring so much, and then you just do things.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That is so true. If you care too much, then you just forget it. You got to stop caring so much. You have to just. It has to make sense for you. It has to be fun for you to begin with. Because if it's not fun for you, you're going to burn out in the process. You're just going to lose the focus. You're not going to be able to build that expert status that you really kind of need to have. Not expert as like,
knowledgeable.
Yeah, not like
skilled.
A teacher. Skilled, but just somebody that really knows their shit, and they, that, if you're asking about that specific topic, that person is going to know, and they're going to have the answers no matter what it is. I always give the example of a goat farmer. They could be like the best goat farmer out there, making the best goat milk, the goat soap, and the whole thing about goats, and maybe they speak goat. They just know everything about that subject, and that's the subject.
Like a professional in that field.
Yeah, a subject matter expert, somebody who needs, and so we need to build that through social media, through articles, through the knowledge that we give to our target market. So we always constantly have to be kind of on our toes a little bit, and vigilant in that sense.
And always open to learn too, right? Because just because we know doesn't mean things don't change or there's not more to learn.
Yes, we absolutely have to learn. And it's funny because like when you're young, I think many of us can resonate. We think we know it all. And as we get older, we realize like every year goes by, the less and less we really know. It's because we're broadening our understanding of the immense amount of knowledge that is just out there. And people have such amazing talents, skills that they can bring forward in this world, and it's just I'm in awe, to be honest with you. I'm absolutely blown away. People are just amazing in that sense.
I think it's kind of fun, like every year learning something new. I kind of make that a goal. You know what I mean? Not just like the growth and the building of things, but also just like what I'm going to learn this year.
Yes, and always pushing yourself to the next stage with not being perfect, being imperfect, but being ready to shift focus. One of the other things that we kind of teach people is that a lot of the times you lose sight in the process of maybe you're outgrown yourself in a field. And that could be true for many of us. We change fields, we change professions, we change businesses. I think there was this this thing I saw that around 40, a lot of people are then at that point changing their profession or starting a business, because all the accumulation of wisdom and experiences teach us so much about what really makes us happy. And at that point, I think we are ready to, and I mean, obviously we've gathered enough life experience and confidence in the, unless life has beat you down, then it's a different story. But, and at that stage, you're ready to move forward, and you're really more in tune with your inner needs, because you cannot successfully lead a business and not be happy doing it at the same time. There's just such a conflict in there.
Well, yeah, because now you're going to do the bare minimum if you're not feeling it. Like if you're not in it, like if you're not loving it, at that point, you're just keeping it alive. Most people that aren't super happy with their business, but have a business will typically it's just like a job at that point. They just show up, they clock in, they clock out.
Exactly. And then the next thing you know, you're just not hitting your goals. You're not moving forward in your business.
Might not have goals.
You might not even have the goals. Or maybe your goal is to literally end the business as soon as possible. Maybe that's where you're at. That's fine. You need to set the clarity around the needs. Where am I right now? What do I need? And what are the current bottlenecks in my situation, in my business altogether? And once you map those things out, you could really move forward in sort of a clarity. I think that's very important.
Have you always been pretty business focused, or is this a skill that you have built?
I have been very business focused. My first business that I started, I was in my early 20s. And that went from, I started modeling at an early age, kind of stopped around 25, then started my businesses because I wanted to. I just found that more interesting. And I did marketing. I had a marketing agency. I had 2 retail stores. We had the axe throwing venue. There's some construction. We had a construction endeavor. It was very, very much entrepreneurial in essence. But when I came to the States, that was about 7 years ago, I had never experienced working for anybody else. And I found that to be the most coolest thing ever, to have a job. So I was like, okay, I have to get a job. I have to find a corporate thing. I want to be in a team with all the people. And that's how I got into the marketing, corporate side of life, which was a very interesting and rich experience, and that really helped me also forward. And it was actually it was an experience, but it was also a wake-up call to remind me that I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm not really meant to work for anybody else. But I needed that wake-up call, and I needed that experience to it just makes your life so much richer. You can relate to different people, different situations so much better. I find it a very good experience.
It confirmed where you needed to be.
Exactly. We need those. They're like little roadmaps. Sometimes you need to experience what you don't want to steer you the direction that you want and need.
Sometimes when we take a path, I feel like we get thrown these roadblocks just because of that. It's supposed to deter you back to where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Absolutely.
What are some of the roadblocks that you kind of run into with people? Things that stop them from succeeding?
That's a good question. A big one is confidence. Clarity around goals. But the confidence is deep, because not having enough confidence in yourself can really set a really big block in your life altogether. You feel like you will never be a good coach. Maybe you have 20 years of knowledge. Maybe that's all you've done your whole life. But maybe you feel like you need to move to the next level, and you're not exactly sure that this is in you to take upon you, to move to a new level. Let's say serving like a B2B, becoming like a B2B coach and coaching corporate clients, and how to gain mental health and how not to burn out, let's say. You need that confidence, you need that clarity, and then you need to have the motivation. If you have the clarity, confidence, and the motivation, I think then you could achieve a lot. Just alone. That would give you enough of that fuel to make it to the next stage.
What do you do to help these people get through that? Because it's not really the easiest thing to just create. You don't flip on a switch, right? We have to do things to prove to ourselves that we believe in ourselves, to be confident in ourselves.
That is true. So the framework that we offer is more around how to position your service and your offer, how to set your correct pricing, how to find the right tone and the language, so you can create a very desirable service, and that businesses would actually need. And then how to market and sell that service. So basically package, price, and market. The confidence part is more when I work one-on-one with people. I feel like that is so individual, and the reasons behind are just so different that would be just, I feel like that wouldn't be the best decision to put that into that framework. That is more something we do one-on-one, when we work one-on-one with people. And I feel one of the clients I had, she had a really amazing service experience. When I sat down with her and started talking it out, like, okay, what is preventing you from getting to the next level? Finding that fuel inside of you to really work on that service and getting it out there and serving the clients. It was, on her case, it was like her mission. She felt like she needed to have the assurance within herself that was part of her bigger plan in this life, like bigger mission. She felt like she really needed that. That was very tied to her confidence and foundation. So once we built that, and I helped her clearly see, so it made sense for her. Then she was ready to go. She was like, okay, let's do this. Sometimes you just gotta unlock things and be able to see them. And we're always so good at giving advice to our friends. When it comes to ourselves, it's sometimes, usually the hardest thing in the world is to get ourselves to the next level, or out of a rough situation or a confusing situation, out of a hole. We need that friend or somebody next to us that helps us see where we are stuck right now.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you get down enough on yourself and like you don't know where to go, you do need that guidance, because you can't see past what you're seeing in front of you right now. And it's so much bigger than that. So there's solutions to problems that some people just don't see without some assistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's another type of like roadblock you run into that people struggle with in these service type jobs?
A lot of the times the service providers, they have to, they're so they run solo. So they have to wear all the different hats that you could think of. Do it all, plus have a family, plus have the kids at home. So it's a lot of them tend to experience burnout, especially if you don't know how to set boundaries within your work that you do. I think setting boundaries is extremely important. And that's, again, something that I have seen with many clients. Because we get so, and that again ties back to the confidence. We're not so confident in our service, so we start making those adjustments, and then we all know that saying, like, you give a finger, they take the arm. And the next thing you know, you're fighting for existence because your whole time is now dedicated to your one client that's maybe not even paying that much, but you want to keep that client around, so you're just giving your all, and you just kind of going crazy in the process and burning out. So wearing multiple hats and having to take care of everything on your own, from your marketing, from your sales, from your showing up and putting up a show, and maybe if you're an event planner, that just so much that goes into that. So delegating, knowing exactly when is the right time to now find somebody to help you with certain tasks, absolutely knowing what your strengths are is everything. If you know your strength is communicating with your clients and giving them the experience, find somebody else to help you with the other stuff, maybe the sales, being on the phone all day, all night, trying to get the next client, and then showing up in the event and putting up a show could be very, very difficult for anybody.
How do you convince, because I feel like a lot of people don't hire somebody because they basically don't think they make enough to have an employee or have, a contractor helping. So what do you do when somebody has a one-man show and they are just ran empty, but they hesitate on hiring someone to assist them because they just can't afford it, or say they can't afford
it? What we teach is it's the perceived value. So somewhere it's a really clear marker that you've kind of undervalued yourself, undervalued your service. So the first step would be to reassess your positioning. Again, how you speak. You need to know exactly you need to be able to verbalize the outcomes that your clients are getting. So if you know how to set that tone in a very confident way, now you need to set your pricing. And a lot of people undervalue their service. They're just scared to ask for more. So you would think, like, okay, I'm having like this 1 hour gig. 1 hour is worth maybe $150. That's not what we encourage. That's the road to burnout. And in this way, you have to have so many gigs to be able to outsource or get any sort of help at any stage of your business, really. So what you really need to do is position yourself as an expert, then price yourself as an expert. There's a lot of pre-work that goes into your work. It's not just to show up and then have a show and then get paid for that. There's a lot of your knowledge that goes into preparation, planning, the actual time you spend together with doing your service. That has to be priced correctly. That we have a client that he was a sound technician, and he went from literally getting $150 per gig to getting, like a $1,500-$1,700 per day. So it was like a huge transition. because of the way he was seeing himself. He just saw himself like, I'm doing a gig. I'm doing sound for this company. A lot of the times, there's middlemen attached to the equation. So if you really set the tone and the focus as you are the business, you run it solo, but you're a business. You're in charge of your time. You are in charge of your pricing. You just need to package it so they, feel that value. You're creating value. As long as you're creating value, you can ask for the price. You can ask for higher your rates. Once you do that, now you have room to play around with. Now you can hire some people to help you with sort of tasks that you need, that you feel like that shouldn't be part of your everyday tasks, or would something that would basically lead to a burnout.
When you up the prices, do you have people, like clients, that are hesitant on upping them for like reoccurring customers? So ones that are already paying a significantly lower amount?
Yes, there's always the doubt. And like, I have this client that has been with me for a year. I cannot go and tell them that, we are now 10 times, we need a bit better rate now. But a lot of the times when we talk to the people, it turns out these are also the clients that are maybe blocking the success. You could go and get better clients. You don't need more clients, you need better clients. Sometimes we need to say bye to the clients that are not necessarily helping us move forward in our own lives, in our own purpose, and help us grow. We need the ones that really resonate with the new message that we're giving out. If your old client, and it is hard to do, I understand, but do it gradually. Maybe you have 3 of those clients that you have on the side that give you that secure income feel. Keep one of them. Let them know this is my new, maybe you're doing a rebrand, showing them your new website. You're giving that confident vibe of like, that's where I was a year ago. This is where I am now. This is what my new pricing. If you like it, I would love to keep working with you. It's something we gotta all toughen up, but we have to do that.
How often do you run into somebody where the holdup is their family?
The family. Wow. Not so often, but it has happened. I guess, that's like a really messy situation, right? Family, I think that's the worst, because if there's a messy situation in the family, none of us is like a certified family counselor. And I feel like that could be a really dangerous road to start helping people at the same time, because whatever situation in the family that could hold you back, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your life circumstances, we need support. And that is true. You need to find that support network around you that maybe helps you get to the next stage. Let's say a woman that is recently divorced, maybe with 2 children, doesn't just have the time at hand to go after her goals and passions, and to live for herself, and to build a new future, a better future for her and her kids. That could be very, very difficult. So we need to be very open to new relationships and building a network that is supportive and that can help us. That is, and at this day and age where we're so isolated in so many ways. Wow, you just touched like a really deep it made me think. Are so isolated, and because myself as well, I'm from Estonia. My family, a lot of my best friends, everybody's in Estonia. So my close network here is kind of small, and it can be very challenging at times to find that that network that is very, very supportive to your needs and goals.
When I think like the more successful you are, the smaller the circle will get anyways. So like you kind of start out life with like this endless circle of people. And then as you change and as you grow and as other people change and they grow, like sometimes it's not in the same direction. And then as you start to build a community somewhere new, it may not look as big or as full as the last one you had, but there's actually more value than you'd think in the comparison of size.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no need to have like a huge network. It's more qualities in the, it's not in the quantity. It's really the quality. Like you just have one really good friend that is always by your side. That's all you really need, is somebody to trust in this world, and somebody to relate to, and share your life, your life with. And if it's always just like your boyfriend or husband, it can become really that I feel like it's not as fulfilling sometimes as having really, really good, genuine friendships around you.
Do you and your husband still work together?
No. So after COVID, so that was actually it's actually a really crazy story. We ended up having like kind of like a really difficult partnership with somebody that we brought onto the business, trying to expand, and it did not go as planned. So we actually ended up closing the business. We were open with the venue for about 4 years, I think, 4 years. So we don't work together anymore at that. It's challenging to work with your partner too. It's not easy.
But I don't know. It depends. So like I'm kind of the opposite of just everything that you just described. My husband is like literally like we are best friends. We are with each other most of the time. I mean, occasionally like he'll kind of go do his little hobby and all that stuff. We work together really well. We always have. And so like I'm like the complete opposite of that. So I don't quite understand how other people can't work with their spouse, but that is a very common theme. Like, and it's not even like that they can't, it's just that it's uncomfortable, or it's there's a lot more friction being together and working on everything in life together all the time. So it's kind of a weird one for me to like kind of comprehend.
No, we worked well together, but I think it comes down to at that one point after the company had closed, I just wanted to experience that sense of, okay, what does it feel like working for a company? And that's when I started looking for a job and going into the corporate world and finding experiences there. They were just very opposite to what I had experienced prior, because that wasn't the only company I had with my husband. We had other companies together. And it was always successful. It wasn't like something I wouldn't do again. It wasn't that. It's just where I was kind of more steering towards was the enrichment you find in different relationships and having that variety in your life. I think that is important.
Yeah, and I totally get that. It's just like literally he's like my main person. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to everything, including just venting about nothing. So that's why I was like, I get where you're going with it, but it was like, huh, you just like described I'm the opposite of that.
And that's
One of those.
beautiful. It's beautiful. That's how in life we get to know who we really are. It's understanding different ways and then seeing, oh, do I resonate with this? Do I resonate with that? What do I resonate with? Who am I? That's how we know
Yeah,
who we are.
it's a fun process.
It is. Absolutely.
Um, so with your business partners, finding them, how did that kind of play out? Because I mean, finding a business partner is, I mean, just as hard as finding your spouse, right? Because it has to be somebody that you can do hard things with.
Absolutely. And you are so right about that. I feel like a lot of times in life, the best people that come to our life are really sent to us. Like there's some sort of cosmic harmony to that. Going out and just looking for people could probably, I mean, it might work. But in my case, they reached out to me, and they were old friends of mine. They reached out to me with the idea of the platform that we're building on the side. And so that was always like the bigger mission, the bigger goal was to build that platform. And then we just started ideating around that. How do we create the community that we can bring onto the platform? So that was that was the that was the idea. So they were definitely people that I already knew from Estonia, from Europe, back home, and that's how we kind of. It was just the idea that brought us together again.
Um, it's okay. I'll just cut that little bit out. Yeah. Um, that's what I love about this is like it doesn't have to be picture perfect, you know?
Yeah, perfect.
What was that?
I had to turn off my phone. I'm sorry.
So in finding them, you've known them for like a really long time. So these were people you're already familiar with, knew who you were kind of going into business with, and the basically just kind of flowed out. It wasn't even like pre-planned. It was just like, we need to do this, and then just diving in.
Exactly. And I like to share my life with people that I share similar values with, that I know that our missions and values and why we're doing this in the first place is going to come from the same place. That is all motivating for all of us. We need to be motivated at the same level, because I've had previous partnerships, like I mentioned, that were just terrible, and it's very hard to find that. You should consider yourself extremely lucky having a trustworthy partner in a business. That is something very special.
In a lot of ways, I mean, that's pretty equal to like your spouse, if not a little bit more important, because it's such a hard thing to do, just building a business from the bottom up.
Absolutely. You need support. You need somebody who's dedicated. You need somebody you could trust. That's the biggest one, I think, trust.
And that's the hardest one to do.
Yes. Yes, it's the hardest one to do. I remember I had a really good employee in one of my businesses, and he was so good. He was genuinely so good that I was like, where is the catch? Like, this cannot be real. Like, when am I going to see something that gives me an indication that, look, something is not as good as he looks, and does his work amazingly, and always there, and always could talk to him about everything. And we had to do taxes once. I remember it was like the very last minute. And I was like, look, it's like 9 p.m, but it's super last moment. He was there to help. And he always, to the to the last minute, he always proved himself with being such a person of integrity, honesty, and just so lucky to have somebody, to even met somebody like him. It was absolutely amazing to work with somebody like that.
And nothing ever proved it wrong.
Nothing ever proved it wrong. No.
Because there are amazing, absolutely amazing individuals out there. And unfortunately, I think there's enough that make us question things that we question good people.
Yeah. We should never let that, we should always have that guard up a little bit and just to be on the safe side, right? But always trust our intuition with people that we go into business with. But at the same time, always give people the benefit of the doubt. Always look at them with love and kindness and fresh eyes. Always give opportunities. That would help you.
You just have to pay attention. Look at the cues, pay attention to your intuition. But like, you know when something's not right. It's just whether or not we're paying attention to it. And then if something's good, we have to believe that things can be good.
Yes. So with that one partner we had, he was being a really good partner in the business. And that's where my intuition after a year started kicking in. And I started telling my husband, look, something feels really off about this. I'm sensing that something is really, really off in this situation. And I remember he was, no, like, please don't put my mind in that direction. I don't want to go there. I just want to believe that everything is good. Like, he has good intentions and everything is well. And I understood where he was coming from, but I kept on having this bad feeling in my stomach. And it proved to be wrong to the point where our partner basically put a trespass on us within our own company and tried to kick us out from our own company. He didn't succeed. Yeah, but it was really, really at that level of craziness. But he didn't succeed at the end. He didn't succeed. But the things that he tried to take over the business were just extreme. So anybody going into a business, really, really research the people that are around you, that you're talking to. A lot of people that throw out really big flags and say, oh, I've done this and I've done that and I've been there and here and I have this skill and that skill. If it sounds too good to be true, it might just not be so great. Yeah.
Is that kind of how this person fooled you guys? Is what was just like these, I can do all these things?
Yeah, it was a very good talker. He was very smooth with his, the way he set everything up. He had a previous kind of a venue with arch, like an arch type bar venue. And he had all these things and all this experience, and that's how he got us in.
And then, so was he basically like trying to take over like mass pieces of the business so that way eventually he just took it all? Like, what was like his actual intention?
It was to take over the business. But
so this was after it started doing well. That's when it switched.
After it started doing better, yes. So in the beginning, we were very pleased because the business after COVID, because COVID was a horrible time for, I think, any mom and pop shop or like experience-based business, because you weren't allowed to see people. So how on earth are you going to create revenue for your business if you're not allowed to let anybody in through the door? So, and the landlord still wants his rent, right? So it was a very difficult time in that sense. And my husband started looking for options, and he came across this business partner, and he definitely got him in with this great talk. He was really a good talker, and the business after a year started doing really well. Then he absolutely wanted us out of the business, like 100% out.
So did he tell you that he wanted you out, or was it like little manipulative, like things that he'd do? Like obviously getting a trespass,
It was very
that's kind of hard, right? Like how do you get that without a restraining order?
It was very manipulative. It was very manipulative. It was almost like a game he had played many times before, which we found out he had. We were not the only business in his track record that he had done this to. We later found out. But it was very well planned. He was kind of manipulative. In so many ways. It was really truly like a mind game. When I think back, I haven't really visited that memory. When things like this happen, I'm kind of like a next play type person. So I'm like, okay, this is what I learned. I learned to trust my intuition. I learned so much. I learned to really research people, the people that you work with. And you cannot just blindly dive into partnerships, and also the legal side of things, like how you set up partnerships to begin with. That has to be solid. So there was so many different lessons in there. And at the end of the day, I just see him like really a blessing, really. I send love to him. Everybody.
It's those lessons though. I mean, there's things that happen, and I feel like we almost like it sucks in the moment, right? But we need those lessons to make better choices, because otherwise we're just going to keep making the same mistake.
Yes. Yes. Now, sometimes we might make the same mistake twice. And that, I guess that was the definition of ignorance, right? People that make the same mistake over and over again are not playing it smart. So definitely learn from your mistakes and try not to make them again.
Anytime something goes wrong, just kind of sitting back. And like, I know like it's like I do the same thing as you. And like after it's done, I move on, right? Don't really revisit either. But it is good to kind of sit and be like, what was the lesson in this? Like, why did I go through this hard situation?
Yeah. That is something I do, I think naturally is try to find like a higher purpose in everything, a higher way of seeing things, because I'm naturally a really positive person. I don't like to see things as just doom and gloom. I do want to see that, okay, what was the lesson? And they're always there. They're always there. They're right in front of us. They're
given to us.
They're given to us. Silver platter. Here you go. We're just like, oh, it's so pretty.
And it's so much easier to look at that situation and find the lesson than it is to sit there with the like, why me victim mentality.
That is never going to get us anywhere. The victim mentality is just it's a wicked circle, and it's just always going to keep us stuck in the same position, and we will never be able to get out of it unless we own our mistakes. We need to own them fully. That's when we could truly get over it and be the next person that we're meant to be. I think that's
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I think that's also a very significant lesson. And as we were talking earlier, is like all these people now hitting late 30s, early 40s, they've gone through all these experiences. I think that's really why there's so many entrepreneurs showing up at this age, because they've made all these really foundational mistakes that you need to make.
Do you, based on the type of clients that you take on, do you run into the people that just aren't really meant to work for themselves, and like for what you offer as a service just helps them be able to, because you're kind of giving them the business side of it that some may not have?
So there's so much that goes into a business. The business side of it is not really what we teach either. Business in its own is a whole subject and topic. What we really just show people is that a lot of people have a skill. They're really good at something, and then we just encourage them to open up to the idea of treating that skill or passion as a business. And there would be people that would be interested to pay for that service or experience. And I think a lot of those service providers and experience providers are exactly in that middle, stuck, thinking that it's just a passion that I have, or it's just like a service, or maybe I won't find any clients. We are here to say you will find clients, and the more unique your service or niche it is, the more interesting you might be for a business clients. Let's say it's like an avocado party or something, and it's like a team bonding experience. You're making guacamole together, or wearing like funny hats and making jokes all night. Like, what a cool experience to a business that they always sit in the office, or maybe even work virtually. They never see each other. They never get to really understand each other at a personal level. And then the work life becomes richer. It will be part of the company culture, really. A lot of businesses invest in the culture of the companies because they care about the employees. They understand that if they don't offer a fulfilling experience to their employees, they are going to lose their employee. And that will cost so much more money to this business than training a new employee every 6 months or a year, than sustaining a happy group of employees and giving them those wonderful experiences that make that life so much more interesting.
Is that kind of part of the program that you service to these business owners?
So
like the team, like talking about their team and like kind of the culture?
yeah, so a lot of the experience and service providers, the service or the experience can fit into the culture experience and enriching the team culture. So maybe not all of them, but I would say if you as a business, you would define where's the value that I give to my company. Maybe it's education. Maybe it's mixed with some team bonding and fun time. Maybe it's coaching. Let's say it's a television station, and something that could be very much part of their experience as a collective would be teaching the employees how to become a more of a better performer on television, let's say. Now, you would find maybe every 2 months or maybe once or twice a year a really cool experience where everybody goes and they get to experience like new techniques or new ways of unlocking like maybe some sort of trauma responses inside of them that are prohibiting or blocking them to reach the next stage of their television persona. It's a very weird thing, yeah, like a weird example, but it's all relevant. If you're just working, you will burn out, and you need those company events, those cool experiences to take part. And on the other side, we have the really sweet, beautiful wonderful service providers that offer those experiences. And there's a vast variety of different services and experiences to experience in that company setting. So, and that's what we teach the service and experience providers, is like how you can position yourself, what you do, so somebody would recognize that as a valuable something to add on to their company experience. Maybe it's like a voice coach, or maybe a mindset thing, or just somebody that coaches how to plan the time better, time planning. It could be really anything you're good at.
And it's just another way for them to sell their service. So that's kind of building the business up too, right? Expanding their clientele base.
Yes, it's the biggest bottleneck to most service providers, is how to become visible within to these companies, how to stand out, because the noise has become so big. We have social media, we have everybody trying to create content around what they do. It's almost as if you are in the kind of a quicksand trying to stand out with your service. So there's very specific steps that we teach that people can take to kind of help them speed that process while you are working on your social media and all of that stuff. Because that is it's a game. It takes, I'm assuming, a lot of time to build something. I saw your social media. You had quite a following. How long has it taken for you? And I'm asking you a question.
A long time. Yeah, but I also post a lot too.
That's crazy. There's people that come and they teach now that you have to spend maybe 20, like you may have to make like 20 reels to even get out your message and to even become visible in the algorithm. And that's just absolutely nuts. Most people don't have that sort of patience or time.
It's a lot of time, and it takes up all the free time that I have outside of everything else I do. It takes up the rest of it.
It takes up everything. And a lot of people also don't want to be in such a center point with their personality. They're maybe, more like the B-roll type personality, and that's totally fine. But just don't wait for that social media to keep hitting and becoming successful. There's other things you could be doing in the process. That should be just like a treat on the side. If somebody sees your name, sees your offer, and they are going to go on social media or online and try to see, okay, well, I want to see what that person has done. Then they see you. Then that makes sense. Then they see that, oh, okay, I see that this person has done these events, and now I see what it looks like and how they're handling their customers, and it's giving a really cool vibe. I'd like to hire them, but I wouldn't rely solely on that.
Yeah. I think people forget that there's other tools that you can use to build your business. I think we've used social media so much that they think that's the only option.
Yes, and also we're being conditioned a lot, because it is a huge part of what everybody's saying, that's where the success lies. That's where your golden ticket is. And if you become viral on social media, you're going to be successful. And it could be, I think a lot of people are really struggling with that. And I've absolutely seen that you can be a very well-respected service provider, making a lot of money without tons of followers. There's other 100%. Ways. There's absolutely other ways to do this.
Yeah, it's simpler than it seems. It's just a lot of work no matter which way you take it.
It is. There's no easy way out. Either way, you got to do the work. Yeah.
No. Never you don't want to take the easy route.
The easy route is, yes, that's exactly. You do not want to take that route.
It's getting a job, right? Like, which
Oh,
you got out of.
I was thinking worse. Oh my God, my mind.
Oh, you were thinking real worse.
I was thinking worse. Yeah, there's the easy road again, but sometimes people are not mentally strong enough to. There's all kinds of mental issues people suffer with and suffer from, so we can't judge. But yeah,
there's still paths. You choose your path. I mean, we all have some kind of trauma or something that we've dealt with, and some a lot worse than others. But there's some that have came from the complete bottom and worked their way up, and that's because they didn't give up and they kept pushing forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so inspiring. That is so inspiring.
Oh, I love those stories. I absolutely love that. So to kind of round us out, do you want to leave like a message, maybe some advice, maybe a little something about the business specifically, where to find you, anything like that?
Yes, if any sparks of interest are out, if people with sparks of interest, go to dankb2b.com. You can read a little bit about us and what we do, and see some of the links to the content that we offer as well. And just stay happy, stay passionate, because if you're not happy in your life and if you haven't found that passion, then it's super hard to build something sustainable on top of that. First, become really, really super clear what it is you want, and then go for it.
Take that action.
Take that action. Go for it. Don't doubt yourself. Don't play it small.
Yeah. And if they need help, they just go to your website and get help.
Exactly. We're here. I'm here. I'm here.
Well, thank you so much for coming on Messy on Purpose, sharing a little bit of personal information along with a lot of business knowledge, and it's very much appreciated. Hopefully it was relaxed enough. That's what we were going for.
It was relaxed. You have such a beautiful, relaxed vibe. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. Well, guys, until next time, bye.
Bye.